Hello again. It's almost the witching hour here in North Devon in England, in the United Kingdom. It's time for your free psychic tarot reading for Saturday, the 1st of June, for 7 days. That's next week from Saturday, the 1st of June. If you've been with me before, you'll know how this works. This is a general reading using a deck of cards divided into 4 packs, 4 stacks. 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. I'd like you to choose one of these stacks for your reading, for your own private reading. You can have number 1 if you'd like the look of the crystal. Maybe you like the look of this one, number 3. But choose 1, 2, 3 or 4, whichever feels right for you. And we'll start this tarot reading with number 1 just after this quick intro, which will last about 10 seconds. Thank you for watching my intro. We'll start with number 1 now. This is your free tarot reading, psychic tarot reading for June the 1st for 7 days. Welcome to everybody, all my regulars, and a special welcome to those of you who are alone tonight or who are watching this because you've been made lonely at some point. We'll give these a shuffle, although they've been shuffled before, and as I always say, this is a deck of cards that's been with me many years. And all of these cards have done thousands of readings for people from all over the world for many years. So, number 1, this is for you for 7 days. First of all, it seems to be a spiritual month for quite a few of you. You may find that your spiritual activity is higher than usual, possibly because it's the beginning of the month. This tells me that lots of you are into this kind of thing anyway, and that's possibly why you found me here this evening, or maybe this morning where you are, or when you see this. But it's a spiritual month for quite a lot of you, especially if you're one of the earth signs. There are spiritual people all around you, and there are spirit guides around you too. So that makes it a great week, if you're deciding on things that need careful consideration, because next week you should be on a bit of a psychic high, which means your judgment will be good, will be sound, and you will be able to look at things and know if they're good for you just by the feelings you get inside. We all get this about 2 or 3 times a year. You get high points. People that are psychic all the time, but they all get high points. We all get high points. Which means next week, take notice of your inner visions. Take notice of your dreams, particularly, I always say that, but it's true, particularly if you get dreams that are repetitive. They're very special dreams. Repetitive dreams are repetitive because the spirit guides are trying to get through to you messages that you're not quite getting, so they keep repeating these messages through the dreams. That's an easy way for them to contact you. And this will be especially true at this time of night where we are now in England. It's just about midnight. About a minute to midnight, I think, and it's the witching hour, great time for decision making. But some of you next week will be feeling psychic. You may be contacting psychics. You may be contacting me for a proper psychic reading on the telephone. If you want me, it's davidcharlespsychic.com. Some of you will be meeting a friend that is also into this kind of thing, and lots of psychic activity. Special week for those of you who live by water, especially if you live near the sea or the coast. On the negative side, there is a bit of stress around, but because it's such a spiritual week, you probably won't even notice that. Many of you will be contacting spirit guides who are older than yourself. You could be going to spiritual meetings or psychic fairs or that kind of thing. It's a great week for taking chances. It's a great week for a leap of faith. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in your abilities and your abilities to do things. Cut out the stress if you can. Not easy these days, we're all victims of that. And there are signs of a person with you who is successful, very successful in fact. The person is probably a business person or a very solid person who is a go-it-alone type of person, and 1 or 2 of you are loners as well next week. You don't seem to get lonely next week, even if you're finding yourself alone. You feel comfortable in your own skin next week. It's a great week for mixing with this person who is successful. Of course, I may be picking up you. It could be you that's successful. But a good week for that as well. Most of the reading for you, number one, is about psychic things. But of course, there are also messages about your work. Your career seems to be picking up next week. I know it's only a week, it's only 7 days, but if you want to increase your potential in your work, or in your business if you work for yourself, next week should see some growth, or things that will cause growth later on in the weeks that follow. A lot of you will be contacted by spirits that are older than yourself, male spirit guides particularly. Could be your father or someone you've lost, or an older uncle or someone, or granddad. They're with you and they're there to help you. There are signs of offers, and there again seem to be spiritual natures behind these offers. I don't know why I'm picking up this, but I am. You may be receiving an offer from a spiritual person who may be interested in this the same as you are. It's a great week for trying for new jobs, for new business, for new approaches to things. If you're looking for spiritual guidance, then you may find it from a female next week as well. But that's not an older person. The female person, the lady, is fairly young, probably early 30s, maybe mid 30s. So take a chance next week. There's not all that much going on, number one, really. There's not anything scary. There's no warnings, there are no losses or anything like that. And of course, you do have some lucky numbers. Your lucky numbers from the 1st of June for 7 days are, if you want to get a pen maybe, you may want to pause this video. Number 10 is one of your lucky numbers, then 14. Your star number, your magic number is 23. Remember, 23 may ring a few bells straight away for you. Then you have 33, 41 and 50. So a great week for trying new things at work. If you're in business, a great week for having a go. It's a great week for having a go at new things all round. For taking a chance, a leap of faith. This is signified by the Fool card. It doesn't mean you're going to be foolish. But don't be daft and reckless. Just take a chance if it comes along and you feel it's safe to do so. Look out for a spiritual lady coming your way. Look out for a lady with fair hair that is real, not bleached or blonded out of a bottle. And watch out for your stress levels. Keep them down if you can. And in all, next week, number one, it seems to be a spiritual psychic week. If you're not into this thing, then you may be in denial, because it's a week of healing as well. So if you've not been feeling too good, you may find next week that things are starting to calm down. Once you get your stress levels out of the way, there may be some healing going on, which of course can also mean that some of you are healers and you may be working in a healing profession or healing people just for a hobby. And you can make more of that if you wanted to and take it more seriously. But a great week for ladies, particularly. If you're females and chose number one, it should be a good week for you. I'll give you your lucky numbers again, number one. This is for the 1st of June 2019 for 7 days. Your lucky numbers are number 10 and 14. Your magic number, your star number is 23. Then you have 33, 41 and 50. So a good week. Not tremendously exciting, but a steady week. Should be a peaceful week if you get your stress levels down. I think you'll be sleeping better. I think you'll be healing, not just physically, but emotionally as well. And your message from the spirit world is to take a chance. Don't be reckless and daft, but take a chance if it feels safe. Take a chance with new romance. Take a chance with new lovers, new hobbies, new interests. Try to diversify next week. Do something different. Something maybe you've always wanted to do and never got around to. Next week will be a good time to put that into motion. It may not start next week, but you can set it into motion next week, maybe joining clubs or things like that, or societies that you wanted to do. It's a great time next week for walking in the country. Get away from it. It's a great time for isolation, which is not a common thing really in readings, but you may find that you're happy next week to spend some time alone, in peace, tranquility, and maybe in silence as well. So please consider subscribing to my channel, number one, and thank you. Click the bell icon above somewhere around here, And if you click the bell icon, you'll be notified every time I upload a new video, which is once a week for these weekly readings and once a month for the monthlies and the occasional celebrity reading. So, thank you, number 1. And we'll move on now to number 2. And number 2, you may have run the video on, the tape on, because you didn't want to listen to number 1. And if you're waiting for number 3 or number 4, just run it on if you want to. I'll be there for you. I'm going to shuffle these for you, number 2, and see what lies ahead of you for June the 1st, Saturday, June the 1st, 2019, for 7 days. Please subscribe to my channel and consider subscribing. Please share me with your friends and click the bell icon if you want notifications every time I upload a new video, which is about once a week for these weeklies and once a month for the monthlies. So, number 2. Romance. There are question marks around your romance excuse me, next week. This means that you may come to a time when you have to make some decisions. Now, you only have 7 days for this, so if your romantic life requires some decision making, try to do it next week. You may decide that you may want to finish with somebody. I hope not, of course. You may decide that you want to get closer to somebody. The lads out there may decide that you want to propose to someone you love. You may decide you want to make an offer to someone you love, maybe move in or buy a house together. It's a great week for decision making about your love life. The point is, though, it can also mean that somebody is getting in touch with you from your past, and this could be an ex-lover. It can also mean that you're meeting someone new and it's tempting you away from the lover you have at the moment. This would be a great shame. There's no need for you to be tempted. It appears to me that the lover you have may not be perfect, but you can make it perfect, and it's worth fighting for. Some of you are having trouble with your love life, to put it bluntly, next week. And there are question marks. Questions that you're asking of yourself inside. And questions that only you can answer. So, if you don't answer questions about your love life to yourself next week, you may find that you're forced into it, because the spirit guides want you to make your mind up. That's more or less what it means. So if you have a lover, make a decision. You're going to stick with it, or you're going to let it go. Try not to hurt anyone's feelings, because if you do, you'll get karma, and you'll get karma threefold, which means you'll get it back 3 times over. Maybe not now, maybe not next year, but you will get it back. Trust me, we all get karma. It's not negotiable. We all get karma. If we're bad, we pay. If we're good, we're rewarded. And of course, I often say it means if someone's been bad to you, then they're about to pay for it. They will pay for it, and they'll pay threefold. Most psychics, which is clairvoyants, believe that karma is threefold. Therefore, you get it back 3 times over. If you're good, you get rewarded 3 times. So if you're going to split with someone next week, try to do it without anyone getting hurt. That's not always easy, of course. But you may find that your partner, your lover, is really feeling the same, and it's time to move on. Certainly, it is not time to go back to an ex. That's very rare. Most of the time in these readings, the spirit guides will warn against going backwards. So if you're contacted by an ex on Facebook or Twitter or somewhere like that, don't be tempted to go backwards. You can be friends, you can be great friends, probably great friends forever, but you cannot risk being lovers again, because, as I often say, it didn't work the first time, and a lot's happened since then. You've met other people, possibly, and you've moved on. So lovers, make decisions next week. If you don't, you may be forced to. Do not two-time your partner. Please don't be tempted to be naughty, because, as I said earlier, you'll get karma, and you may find one day that it's done to you, and you won't like it. A lot of you will be studying next week on a separate subject. If you're studying, or you're a student, it's a great week for revision, to doing things you've been missing out on. Maybe it's time you need to catch up on some work. It's a great week for people taking exams. That includes driving lesson or driving exams, any kind of exams. If you're applying for jobs and they want you to take a test, it's a great week. Those of you who are working have got to be careful who you trust. It could be a customer, someone who pops in and out of your workplace. It could be someone you work with, a colleague. You've been let down in the past. You don't want it. Watch out who you trust regarding your career. It could be someone who's interviewing you that you can't trust. It could be someone just linked indirectly, but they're linked to your career in some way, or they're linked in your search for a career. So don't trust everyone. Don't be paranoid. Well, please don't be paranoid, but don't trust everybody unless you know they're okay. It's a waiting game for lots of you. Some of you next week are waiting for some money. And you may have been waiting for quite a while for this money, and you may have to wait a bit longer. But it will come eventually, I feel, but possibly not next week. If you are studying, going back to that briefly, you may receive offers. So if you're studying for jobs, it may be that you're offered the job because of your willingness to study. If you're going for an interview, learn about the firm that you're going to be interviewed by. Learn all about them. When you get the interview, show them you know what they do, that you're interested, you've done your homework. Don't just turn up at the interview thinking you've got O levels and A levels and all that you'll get the job, because that's not always the case. But learn about the company, learn about the person who is interviewing you, and you will receive an offer. Doesn't mean you'll take it, but I think most of you will. Offers are coming from work, for work, but don't trust everybody at work. Now, you may receive messages from someone this side, an older person, could be an old uncle or an old auntie. This is a person who can be a bit stern, a bit stubborn. They're good, but they can seem a bit blunt sometimes. If this person talks to you in an advisory way, try to listen to what they say. You may not be asking for this advice, but you're going to get it anyway. So if somebody older than you is offering you words of wisdom, listen to them. Now, you're also meeting a person who travels extensively. A person, again, who may be linked to your career or your studies. If you're working, they're linked to your career. If you're still studying, they will be linked to that. They're linked to your earthly life, the way you learn and work and earn your living, that sort of thing. This person travels. Now, this person is flirtatious. They're good. It's a nice person. Could be a man or a woman. But they're flirty, which means they may flirt with you. But of course, it means they may also flirt with everybody else. So don't be flattered by this person who travels too easily, because you may find that they're not satisfied with just one lover or acquaintance. So it's not really a good week for new lovers, but it's a good week for making decisions about your present love life, number 2. Now, of course, you have some lucky numbers. You may want to get a pen. If not, I'll repeat them for you anyway in a few minutes. So your lucky numbers, number 2, for June the 1st, for 7 days, are number 7, coincidentally, number 17 and 18. Number 28 is a lucky number, and your star number, your magic number, is 29. Remember 29. You may feel that means something already. It could be your address or an address you once lived at. And 46 is a lucky number as well. So, be patient next week, especially if you're waiting for some money from somebody. You may not get it next week. You may be frustrated. You may feel that nothing's going on and they're avoiding paying you what they owe you. But you should get it soon. Now, some of you will be waiting for other things. You'll know what I mean. Whatever it is, be patient, because it will come, I feel. Maybe tune into this channel next week and see what the week after brings in next week's reading. That will be from the next 7 days, of course. Some of you have been let down before when it comes to work, and some of you have been let down before when it comes to people owing you money. So you're very cautious about that, not surprisingly. You may receive offers of work if, as I said, you're going for interviews or planning on applying for jobs. Study the company, study the people, learn all about them. When you walk into the interview, you will impress them. You'll be interviewing them almost. I want you to walk into the interview and make them think they can't afford to miss you. You're too good. Don't be overconfident, don't be cocky, but learn about the company. When they ask you questions, and they will ask you quite obsolete questions, you'll need to have an answer ready. If you have a love problem, a love life problem, try to sort it out next week. It's a good week for that. That may not apply the week after. If you have to make decisions about your love life, number 2, and I think a lot of you will do it next week. You may be considering ending a relationship. You may be considering cementing a relationship that you have. Don't be led astray by past lovers. Don't be led astray by temptation with new lovers. And please do not hurt your lover next week, because you will pay for it. And it's not good to hurt people anyway. So if you're going to split up, you need to somehow do it without anyone getting hurt. As I said, your lover may feel the same way and not really want to tell you because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But that pretty eventful next week, number 2 for you, more than number 1, because number 1 was quite a steady week, more than exciting. Watch out for a flirtatious man or woman who's coming your way. They may flirt with you, but of course they may flirt with everyone else. And I think they're linked to your earthly life, possibly your studies or your career. So thank you, number 2, for that, for listening to me. Thank you especially for those of you who are alone or watching this on your own, or you've been made lonely. You're always welcome here. That was number 2. So we've done number 1 and number 2. I'm going to do the reading for this one here. This is number 3 if you chose number 3. And we'll do this after this 10-second break. See you in a second. Bye-bye. Welcome back. My name is David Charles, international psychic, medium and white witch. I do readings for people from all over the world on the telephone. If you want a reading with me, please check out my website, which is davidcharlespsychic.com. Welcome especially to those of you who are alone tonight or who have been made lonely for some reason, and welcome to all my regulars. Please consider subscribing to the channel and click the bell icon, wherever it is, somewhere around here, and you'll receive notifications every time I upload a new video, which is once a week for these weeklies, and once a month for the monthlies, and the occasional celebrity reading as well. So I'm shuffling these number 3, although they've been done already. We'll give them another shuffle for you, and we'll take a look at what's going to happen for you, what surprises next week has in store. This is the 1st of June, a new month, for 7 days. So, lots of you are finding confusion around your career, things at work getting out of hand maybe, people getting the wrong end of the stick, could be trouble at work brewing for you. It may not be for you, but it's around you, so if there's trouble at work, try to keep out of it. Make sure you're getting the right messages at work. Make sure you're not receiving the wrong information or writing things down wrongly or remembering things wrongly. There can be some confusion around your career, which you're quite capable of dealing with, number 3. Let me tell you your negatives. There are signs of a little bit of aggression around you. This is coming from someone who travels extensively, which, as I say, often applies to most people these days. We all travel a lot. But when the spirit world say they travel a lot, it means they travel a lot all the time, possibly, maybe even overseas. This person heading your way can be a bit arrogant. They travel and they come in like a bull in a china shop, come in to help you, possibly uninvited, and they can be a bit of a nuisance. Now I can see, number 3, that lots of you haven't had it good recently. Not all of you. This is a general reading, a bit like when you read the stars in the newspapers. It can't apply to everybody, but you'll know the bits that apply to you, number 3. Some of this will apply to you. I don't think you've had it easy recently. I think just recently you've had to make a lot of decisions and give up a lot of things and make a lot of sacrifices to get things moving for you, and that's not been easy. But I can tell you now that the sacrifices you made recently will begin to pay you back soon, starting next week, which is only a couple of days away, 2 or 3 days away. So if you've been going through a rough time, number 3, expect things to improve next week. If you can see a way of making them improve, do so, because you may need to push things a little bit to get things moving for you. And I'm sure you'll know what I mean. Now, there is high fertility, but again, a common thing in these readings. High fertility happens in 3 out of 4 readings. It means that your fertility levels are high. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get pregnant, ladies, or that you're going to have a baby if you're couples, but it can mean pregnancy. But fertility, as I often say, means growth and things taking off. So it can mean new jobs. It can mean new contracts if you're in business. It can mean new hobbies. It can mean new lovers, new romances. You may meet the girl of your dreams next week, or you may meet the man of your dreams. You may meet Brad Pitt's double or somebody like that. But when you do psychic readings or psychic tarot readings, they are limited to the tarot cards. It's not like a proper reading when you call me on the phone, which involves all the divination equipment that's going, mediumship and all that. But a generalised tarot reading can't apply to everybody, obviously. But a lot of you will be highly fertile next week. So if you are trying for a baby, next week's the time to try. If you're trying for a new job, next week's a great time to try. Don't do it this week, what's left of it. Do it next week. Get the letters written. Do your CV, get them up to date. And if you want to apply for jobs, do it next week, because everything you touch next week will grow. If you plant some seeds, they will grow. And I mean the seeds of life, they will grow. You may not see it straight away, but they will grow. Look out for an aggressive person who can be a nuisance and can be irritating. This person is almost certainly a traveller. And I don't mean a gypsy, I mean someone who travels extensively. They come rushing in, they're stormy, they're moody. And the beauty of it is they don't mean any of it, but they're just irritating. Watch out for confusion around your workplace. Watch out for some bickering at work. Don't get the wrong end of the stick at work. If you've been suffering recently, going through a tough time, you should be paid back for the efforts that you've made. Now, some of you are highly skillful, and not all of you, but some of you are very highly skillful. You may do jobs that not many people can do. And when I say that, I include things like nursing and looking after people. Not everyone can do that. It may seem simple, but it is not. If you're in that kind of profession, you are going to be sought after next week. You may be busier than you want to be. I don't mean just nursing, but skills that people don't really appreciate. You have skills that, although they may not take 15 O levels or something like that, or degrees, they are skills things that not everyone can do. And you'll be proud next week to show what you're good at. As I'll go back to nursing, if you are in a caring profession, next week is a week when you'll be proud to show what you're good at, and you'll be proud to do what you're good at. But you may be sought after by someone who's trying to steal you away from where you work. Somebody is after you because they know you're the best. Now, that's flattery, and it's very good for your ego, but please look before you leap. Don't just change jobs for the sake of it. Think about it, consider it, enjoy being sought after, but I think a lot of you will stay where you are because you're needed where you are. And you could be in some kind of profession that may look easy to everyone else, but it's very, very difficult, and only a few people can stick it. A lot of people start work where you are and they don't last 5 minutes. They can't stand it, so they leave, or someone gets rid of them. But it's a good week. Now, it's a great week, number 3, for lovers, especially for new lovers, and that's signified by the Ace of Hearts. Well, the Ace of Cups, which is really the Ace of Hearts in an ordinary deck of cards. That is the Ace of Hearts. The Ace of Cups, all the cups in these tarot cards are signified by the word love. They mean love. And an ace is a new love. So next week, it means a lot of other things as well, depending on what lies next to it. But next week is a great week for new lovers. If you're falling in love, it's a great week. And if you're not falling in love, then I think you may be surprised that you will. Maybe not next week, but it will be because of next week that you're falling in love. And it's a brand new lover. This is not someone you've met before in the past. It's not an ex-lover. It's something that could sweep you off your feet. You'll be like a schoolgirl or a schoolboy with a crush. Not necessarily next week, but it will be because of next week. It could start next week. A new love affair is on the cards, literally on the cards, for lots of you, number 3. So if you pick number 3, you've picked a good one. And please let me know how you get on. Put comments below if you would, and I'll answer them. I'll answer all comments. And it's nice to see what you think. But new lovers, if you've just met a new person, this could be the big one. It could be the love of your life. That's how big this reading is. That's how good the reading looks, because you're getting rewarded for past endeavours, past efforts, past sacrifices. Some of you are being offered new jobs. This is another ace, of course, the Ace of Wands, which is really the Ace of Clubs. It looks like a club if you look at it. In an ordinary deck of cards, that's the Ace of Clubs. And this is the Ace of Hearts. So the Ace of Clubs can mean new jobs, new work. It can mean new lovers. So new lovers there and new lovers here means it's a great week for romance. Don't miss it. Please don't miss it. You'll be flying next week when it comes to romance. It may not apply the week after, so enjoy it. Of course, number 3, you have some lucky numbers. You may want to get a pen. And I'll give you your lucky numbers now. This is for lotteries and things like that. Pools, coupons, if people still do that. Your lucky numbers, number 3, are number 6, number 8, number 25, and your magic number, your star number, is 35. Remember, 35 may be significant for you, especially next week. Then you have 39 and 49. So number 3, the best reading of the 3 I've done so far tonight. New jobs, possibly new offers of jobs, possibly being sought after, somebody's stealing you or trying to pinch you from where you work, which I don't really recommend you necessarily take them up on. If you're in doubt, ring me for a proper psychic reading. You can find me at davidcharlespsychic.com. And have a look at my website. You'll find it quite interesting. If you're trying for a baby, next week's a good week. Some of you may find that there are pregnancies around you, family members maybe, or distant cousins or friends at work may announce they're having a baby, they're pregnant. Great week for new lovers. Great week for new starts of any kind, as signified by these aces. So it's a great week for you all round, number 3. I think if you avoid the chap or lady that travels, that can be a bit irritating, you'll find things are okay. You're being repaid for the stuff that you put up with recently, the bad stuff. I'll give you your lucky numbers again, number 3, and they are number 6, number 8, and 25, and your magic number, your star number, is 35. Remember 35. And then 39 and 49. Thank you, number 3. Please consider subscribing to this channel and click the bell icon if you want to be notified when I upload new videos every week, and once a month, the monthlies. So, if you run it on to number 4, or if you're patiently waiting for number 4, this is yours. I don't know what's in here. Let's find out what the spirit world have for you next week, number 4, from the 1st of June 2019 for 7 days. Please subscribe to my channel. A special welcome to you if you're alone tonight, or if you're, well, today, it could be today where you are. It's certainly not daytime here. A special welcome to you if you're lonely, or if you've been made lonely recently. You're always welcome here. So, shuffle these again. They've been done once, as I always say. These are old cards, been with me many, many years. These cards that you see in front of you, in front of me and you, have been used for thousands of readings all over the planet on the telephone for many, many years, and I hope they will be for many more. So, number 4. There's a song by the Eagles, you may know it, it's called Take It Easy. Take it easy next week. Some of you are overdoing it and making life harder than it should be. A common thing in these readings, especially in this century that we're living in now, especially in the UK as well. Take it easy. That's signified by the Temperance card. It means take it easy in all things. But that doesn't just mean that. Of course, it means many other things depending on what lies next to it in a proper spread. These are not proper psychic spreads. This is a general reading. If you want a thorough reading with me on the telephone, please look for me at davidcharlespsychic.com, and I'll be happy to work with you on the telephone from anywhere on the planet. Let me tell you your negatives, number 4, because there are a few. One of them is that there may be a loss coming your way. Now that can be serious. It can mean losing something quite valuable. Usually, when losses are signified in these readings, they are avoidable. So be careful. Be careful with money. Don't lend people money. Be careful with valuables, your iPhones, telephones, your wallet, credit cards, your purse, your handbag. Keep things safe next week from the 1st of June for at least a week. Keep your doors locked. Don't lend people money because you won't get it back. Don't lend people your CD collection or anything else. You won't get it back. Just keep things safe next week. Now, lots of you are traveling next week. Lots of you are traveling abroad. Lots of you are, if not traveling next week, then you'll be planning to travel in the weeks ahead and weeks and months ahead. So it's a great week next week for booking travel. or for planning travel ahead, or for travelling next week itself. There are signs that a lot of you are worrying unnecessarily, so you may be going through a tough patch at the moment that could go on for a while. Worrying isn't helping you. That's easy for me to say, but it means that you're staying awake at night, or your sleep isn't as deep as it should be, and you're not gaining proper benefit from your sleeping time. If that's the case, you'll wake up in the mornings feeling like you've had a hard night's sleep, really. So try to stop worrying if you can. I know it's not easy, but try to. Certainly look out for losses. Keep things safe. Losses can be severe, like losing your job and that sort of thing, so be careful. Severe losses like bereavements are very rare. As I've said many times in my readings, a bereavement or a death is a major secret. They're classed as major secrets. The spirit world don't reveal things like death in psychic readings, except in the Hollywood movies. If you do see a death in a reading, it's normally because you're expecting it anyway. That's not the case here. Losses in these readings are usually avoidable, number 4, so be careful with your possessions, your valuables, and don't lose your job. Don't keep being late every day, and don't be cheeky to the boss. Don't lose your job next week. Be careful, don't overdo it. Get some rest if you can. As I think I said to number 1, you need some peace and quiet next week, number 4. Now, a lot of you have been hurt in a romance. This is maybe why some of you are not sleeping well. Somebody's broken your heart and you're feeling dreadful. If that's the case, then only time will heal. Of course, it's made you defensive. You have what I call a Freudian wall around you. Sigmund Freud came up with that idea. You've got a wall around you that keeps people out. Now that can mean that somebody might want to ask you for a date. He or she may be frightened to ask because you look a bit standoffish, or you look a bit tied up, or maybe they think you're too pretty or too good for them and they won't ask you. So lower your guard a little bit. Don't lower it completely, of course. But if you're being defensive romantically, it's possibly because you've been hurt, and you've probably been hurt many times. But I think a lot of you, number 4, have been hurt quite recently. That's why I always say a special hello to people that are lonely when they watch these videos, because a lot of them out there, and there are a lot of you out there, and I do care a lot. So if you've been hurt, lower your guard a little bit, but there are signs that if you've been hurt, that you're also ignoring things that you shouldn't be ignoring. You're putting things off, so don't. You're turning a blind eye to things. So if someone's hurting you, you may be putting up with it and carrying on with the romance. And maybe you shouldn't. You need to look at things clearly. Look at things as your friends may look at them. Take time out to consider what you're doing. Because if someone's hurting you or not treating you correctly, they're not going to change. People don't change. That is a cliche, and it's true. People do not change. Not unless they have a spell off me, of course. One of my magic spells. But people don't change generally. If someone's mistreating you in a romance, you may consider ending it. It's going to hurt, but it may be something you've got to do. Don't ignore problems. And that doesn't just mean romance. You may be ignoring other problems as well, and you can't do that. Don't put things off, number 4, especially next week. Watch out that you don't overdo it. Watch out that you're not over-worrying or over-taxing yourself. Worry will cause problems. It's a very bad emotion to have. It's not easy to stop. I'm not saying it is. But try not to worry too much next week, number 4. I see you alone at night with just your worries for company, and that bothers me. Watch out for losses. Keep things safe. Now, on the good side, there's a new beginning for lots of you, number 4, which may be linked to this romance thing that you're having trouble with. Some of you, not all of you. But a new beginning is always signified by an ace. And that's the Ace of Pentacles. And of course, in a pack of ordinary cards, that's the Ace of Diamonds. Diamonds are forever. Now, an Ace of Diamonds or Ace of Pentacles means possibly there's some money coming your way, number 4, next week. So, I better give you your lucky numbers, because it may be to do with that. Your lucky numbers next week for the 1st of June, number 4, for 7 days are number 11, and your star number, your magic number, is 19. Remember, 19 is important. 38, 48, 49 and 50. They're your magic numbers, number 4. Your magic number is 19. They're your lucky numbers. So remember, good time for travel next week, and it's a good time for booking travel, as signified by the World card, which is a major arcana card, of course. Travel, if you can't travel next week, use next week for looking through the brochures and booking something later on in the year, because a lot of you are going to need it, and it will be good for you. New beginnings are always signified by aces in these packs. Your new beginning next week could be a new romance, it could be a new job, but it's possibly a new romance, and I think a lot of you are ready to move out of one that you're in. I'm not saying end your romance, but a lot of you are considering it, and it can be a new beginning for you. There's money coming next week for lots of you, number 4. Please don't gamble unnecessarily or over more than you normally do, but there may be some money coming. Try not to worry and watch out for losses. Keep things safe. Of course, losses can mean losing your lover, you lose each other, you fall out. That is a concern with this reading, that you may lose your lover or lose each other. You may drift apart. Keep your stress levels down and stop avoiding things, stop putting things off, number 4, because you've been doing that a lot lately. I'll give you your lucky numbers again. Your lucky numbers, number 4, are 11. Your star number, your magic number next week is 19. Then you have 38, 48, 49 and 50. 48, 49 and 50 together. They're your lucky numbers next week, number 4. So thank you for listening to that. Thank you, all of you, for listening tonight. Well, today, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Thank you especially for those of you who are alone or lonely. And I'll soon be doing the video for June, the whole month of June, in a few days' time. So it's been lovely talking to all of you. I wish you all love, peace and happiness. And I'll see you, hopefully, next week. Bye-bye.